Hi, welcome to Cartoon Academy Class 10. Today we are putting it all together. In this class so far, we've talked about circles, how to work on getting steady circles, how to practice your circles and get them better. We have talked about the principle of depth and how we make things appear to be in front of and behind each other in our drawings. We have talked about hands. We have talked about how to design cartoon bodies. And we have talked about faces. And today, I want to start the process of putting that all together. It's real simple stuff, but it gets more complicated as we start combining things and putting them together. So the first thing I want to do is just draw a cartoon character from scratch with you now. If you're here drawing, awesome. If you have a pencil to start with, that's great. If you're drawing in pen to start, that's okay. I am, for this, going to start in pencil and then move on to pen, just so you're ready for what's happening here. So this is really where we start to take everything we've been working on and put it together. Let's just go with, see, it doesn't matter if the circle is perfect, especially if you're working in pencil. But I want you to start by doing a reasonably sized circle. You know, that's probably 2.5, 3 inches, this circle. I don't care if it's perfect. Just give me some kind of a round circle. And then adjacent to it, give me another slightly smaller circle. Again, perfection is not the goal. The goal is to just get work done. We need a line between the two of them. I prefer to not use straight lines at all when I'm drawing cartoons. So just give me a slightly curved line there. What we're doing now is what we've basically done before in terms of creating a cartoon body. Give me another curved line, maybe about as long as your first circle was wide, coming out of the bottom. And another one, this one will do kind of curved here. Okay, one line going up like so. Remember to keep it curved. We don't need straight lines. They kind of make for flat, boring drawings, if you ask me. And another line here, right? So now we've talked about our circles. We've got our bodies going. And now I want to start putting in a hand. Now this is maybe the size of a nickel, this circle, and we'll do another circle the same size for this hand on this side. Okay, down here we're going to do, this is not a circle, this is more of a, think of it as like the shape of a loaf of bread or like a really big vitamin rounded oval, and here like this. And I'm doing this just to show you how we're drawing the bodies. Usually when on this channel, I'm drawing, first line has to be right. The nice thing about all this is none of these lines have to be right. We're sketching, it's okay. Starting from about where your neckline came into the body, I want you to just do a curved line coming over like so, and another curved line coming over like so. And if you remember from last week, the reason we're doing this is because when we're drawing circles, I want you to be imagining them as spheres. So you could imagine that going around the back, this line actually continues and that we're actually describing like a whole big spherical shape. It's important to just be working on that. Then we'll do the opposite line going this direction up here. So we've kind of got this, we're almost creating an S shape from the bottom of the torso to the top of the head, and going down for the cross line. Okay, so now we have our basic body. What I want you to do is up at the top, we'll do, I don't know if you remember, but we talked about using this basic shape for our fingers. It's sort of almost, I think of it as being like a hurricane or something, but it's basically just a curve. It's almost a lowercase letter E, but we're just going to go like that out one side and do the mirror of it the other side. Okay, same thing. Well, not really the same thing, almost just a small oval growing out of it next to that. And then we'll do from there with the space that you have remaining, meaning this space, we're just going to basically go out for one and out for a second. Got that classic peace sign for this cartoon character. While we're here, we might as well just do the Mickey Mouse gloves thing where you add another sort of oval on the outside of the hand. And down here, we'll give him a, let's give him a downward facing fist. I'll start with the cuff on the hand there. And to do this downward facing fist, we'll just kind of have this thumb knuckle going off there. And then we can go 1 bump, 2 bump, 3 bumps, and 4 bumps. Still using that circle as my basic guide, but not worrying too much about staying totally true to it. Okay, similarly with the feet, we can add the cuffs now. And we're starting to have our figure put together. We now have hands, we have our spheres for our head and torso, we have our arms, and the next thing we want to do is give dimension to our arms and legs. This is something relatively new. We talked about it a little bit, but basically you want to do another line on each side of the lines that we drew for the arms and legs already. So basically, if you think about the first line we drew for each arm and leg as kind of being the skeleton, now we're kind of drawing the flesh, the skin around that arm and the legs. Same thing down here. If you find yourself, like I have, with a leg that kind of bumps up, you can always adjust it. We're just working in pencil, so it's okay. And same thing for this one. Just adding another couple of lines outside of that original line that we drew, just to try and create a little sense of, I want to call it heft, but I really just mean dimension, just giving it that little bit more. Same thing with the neck. And now this is where we kind of start to think about what we talked about in terms of, right, when it's really, the really simple version is if you draw a circle and another circle that you can't see all of, it implies that it's going behind. And we take that same principle here. So if I know that I'm basically saying this line is broken over here, I'm going to imply that this arm is coming out of the front of the body. Whereas over here, if the line is broken, I'm implying that this arm is coming out from behind. And this just helps us to create that sense of dimension. I'll do the same thing here, where I'll get rid of this line, and now I know this leg is coming and plugging into the front of the body. And over here, by getting rid of these lines, I'm implying that the leg is going behind the body. Normally, I just know that I'm putting a leg in front of or behind the rest of the body, but in this case, I'm showing you. I normally would just finish that as a pen move. I actually don't love this angle for the head, so I'm going to undo the work I put into the top of the head. It's always okay to change your direction and what you're doing. I kind of want to give you guys a little bit of a break and draw the head a little bit more level. I don't think we need to try and draw a very complicated head right now. Now we get into what we worked on last time, which is we use this dividing line to figure out where our eyes are going to be. They'll be about evenly spaced from the center there, and we can put our mouth centered on that curved axis line as well. Same thing with, we can sort of center our ears on that line and put them over there. Last time we talked about how to do hair, and for me, the best thing I could do is imagine that hair kind of works in an M shape. But in this case, we can't actually see. If it was the front of the head, you might see that the hair goes like this. But in this case, we can't see the whole front of the head, so we're just going to assume that this line is continuing down and going like that. You'll notice this this M shape is relatively similar to Sonic the Hedgehog's upper eye shape, or Mickey Mouse's shape, or Donkey Kong for that matter. This shape is pretty broadly universal. This sort of M shape at the top of the head. Whether it's if it comes to a sharp point, we call it a widow's peak. If it's rounded, we just call it the normal hairline. And we can invent the hair now. For my purposes, I'm just going to give this cartoon character curly hair. Seems pretty straightforward. And then resolve it into the ear rather, in some way. And choose a nose. I like to just start from the dividing line and go out sharp and then up at a slope, and give 2 lines there. Okay, so this is what happens when we combine all of our work together. We wind up with a pose. The fact that we don't have any straight lines in here makes this character feel a little bit more like they're moving. What we're going to do next class is get into more accessories and costumes. But for now, we just want to start with the body itself. And so what I'll do next is my favorite part of the whole drawing process. This is still fairly simple, but because I've now drawn this all in pencil, I basically get to go through and trace my work. And this is, people ask me how I draw such steady lines for my posts. And it's because I've spent so much time tracing over my own work. You go in pencil first, and then you draw a pen on top of it. But having that guideline, it's just that I've done it for so many years that having that guideline and tracing, just like I'm doing now with pen over pencil, has kind of enabled me. And here's where that line cutting into other stuff trick will come in handy, right? I don't have to trace every line that I've drawn here. I'm not going to trace the lines that are the inside. And this is the great joy. All this work that I've done to get to where I am allows me to now make choices as I finish it. Nothing's permanent until I put ink down. So I can constantly make little choices about what I actually want to finish, how I actually want to complete the drawing. Down here, I didn't draw it, but I might just continue the leg right there. Similarly, over here, when I come around, I might finish the leg there. The point is, this is really, to me, the most important training of drawing is going in pencil to get your sketch right and to get all your proportions right and make all your choices. And then when you go over it in pen, this is really where we're doing a lot of the sort of like training your muscles, training your neurons, training your brain on how to draw. Because now you're doing the same motion again, but now you have to be a little bit more delicate. And you've already made the move once. So now when I trace over this eye, my hand has done this exact movement just a moment ago, but now it's trying to do it one last time just perfectly. It's really, really wonderful that it works out that way. When you sketch something, you go, you draw it, you might do that circle 20 times to get it right, right? And each one of those you're accumulating, right? Every time you do a circle, every time you get a square and you do that, your brain's on levels you can't perceive. Your brain is taking that information and storing it. So then when you come back and do your final version, it's all that momentum that you just built up from those practice drawings, those sketch drawings, comes out, and it goes pretty naturally. especially over time, especially the more you draw. I want to reiterate that, like so many people, I always thought that talent was innate, like people are just good at stuff. And I'll tell you, as somebody who has drawn their whole life, I was not a good artist when I was a little kid. And I'm a better artist now than I was a few months ago. And that's because I draw all the time, and I have drawn all the time. And it's not fair to judge yourself against people who have drawn for years and years. The best thing you can do is say, well, without worrying about I'm going to be a good artist, the thing is to say, I'm going to draw like crazy. I'm going to draw so much. And if you just draw a ton and don't get down on yourself about it and do whatever it takes to keep yourself motivated to keep going, over time you can draw well too. I said that inking was my favorite part, but actually one of the great joys of doing art in this fashion of drawing cartoons is the moment of reveal that you get when you get to take your eraser over that whole picture and remove all that early work and just leave your final decisions. This to me is like, I don't know, there's kind of nothing like this feeling when you erase all that an early thought, all the design gets hidden in this one moment. I know I'm totally shaking the camera while I do this. I apologize. There's no way around it. And all of a sudden I'm left with something that looks pretty darn sharp. I know it's not like it's not a masterpiece. I'm not trying to present this as some profound piece of art. I'm just trying to teach you how to draw cartoons here, guys. But that's the principle right there. And just for the sake of it not being weird, let's give him pants and a t-shirt. And a belt. This round-bodied individual. And that's what I mean when I say putting it all together. What do we have? We have perfect circles are hidden in here, but when we're done, there's no perfect circles still visible. We've broken them up. We have things that look like they're in front of and behind. On this side, the leg looks like it's plugging into the front of the body. On this side, it looks like it's plugging into the back of the body for no reason other than the trick that we know about the fact that lines that are interrupted look like they're going behind, and lines that are uninterrupted look like they're in front. We used our hand tricks to draw the hand up here. We used our face tricks to find the axis of the head and design based off of that. And we put it all together into this final form. I think he maybe needs a little bit of he'll have a little bit more life if we fill in those eyes. And I'm not presenting this as this is a good finished piece of art. I'm merely saying this is a great practice to get into in terms of learning to draw cartoons. Let's do another one quickly, okay? Everyone with me? Still drawing? Awesome. We'll do another perfectly round body, and obviously all of this is changeable. You can make the body a different shape. You can make the legs longer or shorter. You can add body parts. This is not the only way to do it. Oh, look at me doing the same exact pose. But it won't be the same exact pose in the end, I promise. Going again, doing this basic body design work. This time I'm doing hands both up. And what I'm going to do here is, just for the sake of getting it right, I'm going to use my trick of dividing the top of the hand into 4 equal areas on both sides. And 4 equal areas, it always kind of trips me out, but 4 equal areas means 5 lines, right? And then we can go like so. This is going to be some kind of a magic character, but those lines help me, even if the fingers get wide at the edges. These lines kind of help me know where I'm putting the marks. I'll do line going up like that. This time I'll draw the face like so, and the body, I'll give him a little bit of a curve going this way, coming down to a shoe that goes like that. That's all on camera, yeah. And another shoe that goes like that. Okay, and then what do we need to know? We need 2 eyes. We need a nose. This one's getting a mustache like so. And eyebrows. We'll give him ears. We'll give him a little bit of hair visible underneath a visor up top. Coming down to, now we can add some details. You know who this is, maybe. It's kind of an interpretation of somebody. Same thing as before. Now we want to, if I drew the arms there and they don't quite work, I can always scoot them down. We're still in the pencil phase. And this is not an exact recreation of Mario. This is a interpretation of Mario. Before I had the legs come straight out like so, and as I say, this is all a formula that's meant to change with you, for you, how you want to do it. So if the legs want to continue and get wider up there, that's awesome. They should, if that's what you want to do. These are, the basic idea is to give you a structure that you can then adapt and change and build on your own. Give him a little bit of shoulders and hair coming out the back, coming up the side. I'm not working from a reference image or anything. I'm just, it's not intended to be an exact recreation. Okay. And now I get to ink. And your inking lines, I did those in one shot. You may want to go slower. I find that when I'm inking, if I can get it all in one motion, I wind up liking the results more. But we'll talk about that more in a future class, how to keep your lines going smoothly, how to get your long lines to be continuous. But now it's just that same thing of we're going to trace what we want to keep. We're going to not trace what we want to let go of. So anything that's that we didn't like, that we drew in the first place, we're going to let go of. And like I just made the mustache a little bit wider there. Doing the eyes like that. I can also, since I'm here, I can just invent the rest of the white of his eye. I didn't do that as a sketch, but I decided to do it now and make him a little bit more Mario-ish. I didn't do the sideburns when I sketched, but I can kind of, assume them. Give him that rim. Maybe make the top come up a little bit higher. Going down. Make the rest of the mouth. And finish the hands. So this is where we're getting into a place where now we have this full character that we've developed. Oh man, I kind of let go of the pencil marks there. It's okay. And the title of this class session is Putting It All Together. I want you to think about this in terms of everything we've talked about so far. Not being critical of your work until it's done, getting the critic out of the way so you can just draw and then interpret it later, see how it went, make your judgments after you're done. Work on getting steady circles. Remember to use the trick of what is in front of and what is behind. Use the break up space to draw the right number of fingers in the right spacing. Use the circle body mold so that you're not just creating a stick figure that has no dimension. You want to start out that figure with some depth to it to begin with. And for faces, using that sense of when you draw a circle, from the time you draw the circle, see if you can envision it, even if you don't use the cross lines to define it. See if you can imagine it as a three-dimensional shape from the start. And all of these things come together to help you create a character, to draw a cartoon. Next class, we are going to talk about adding accessories, costumes, weapons, items, different things to our characters. We'll probably have to work a lot on hands holding items. Let's see. Here we go. It's like let's call it a magic mirror that this hand is holding. And the homework for next class, which you can submit to the link on the Cartoon Academy page on cartoonray.com, is to draw me a character. Not the one we just drew, neither of the two that we just drew. I want to see a character that you draw from scratch using all of this technique. I want to see circle body, circle head. I want to see arms and legs that either plug in front of or behind. I want to see a head that implies a spherical shape to it. And I want to see hands developed. And with that, I will say thank you so much for being here for today's Cartoon Academy. We're going to shift into question mode and taking cartoon requests shortly. But I just want to say thank you so much for being here. It really means a lot to me that you guys are participating and being involved. Special thanks to anyone who's doing homework for this class. You really inspire me to keep going and keep doing good work and developing this class. So I can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. And with that, I will say that is the end of class, and let's move on to questions and requests. Okay. Add a pocket to Mario. Sure. How's that? Give him two little thread holes on his bottom, on his buttons, I mean. Batman, possible. Next class is Thursday at 3:30 p.m. I would love to do a class about shading and coloring. That's a great one. The pen, I use the same pen to outline. It's all Pigma Micron 10. Thank you. Can I draw Goku? I can draw Goku, and I may draw Goku. I want to make sure I get any pressing questions. The other classes are on YouTube. All of the other classes are on YouTube, and the YouTube is linked on my profile on TikTok. And you can submit homework to cartoonray.com, and there's a link. There's a tab on the top of cartoonray.com that'll send you to Cartoon Academy, and then there's a link in there that says submit classwork. Shading and coloring. Okay, we can work on shading and coloring. I appreciate that. Lessons on graffiti style. That would be fun. Yeah, exactly. I was thinking like Super Saiyan yoga or something. Like he's like got some type of god status power. That's what I was thinking. That's what this pose makes me think of. He's like an elevated Fire Flower Mario or something. I don't know what he is. But, that's the kind of, most of the time on this channel, I'm just drawing things from reference. But drawing is so much more fun when you're just completely making it up yourself. You get into really weird territory, and it's where the real fun lies. So that's why this guy is just invented. Lines in the back. Paper. This is just basic printer paper I'm using here. Are there good jobs that include art GCESE? What is GCESE? The homework today is to draw a full body cartoon character in this style, not this one and not this one, but use this style. Make the arms and legs have dimension and depth. Make sure that the head feels like it has a spherical nature to it. And I'll post something in the class Dropbox on cartoonray.com.